What happens when one of television's most beloved comedians walks onto a morning talk show and finds himself trapped in a nightmare of condescension and disrespect? In just 34 seconds, a single comment from a host spirals into the most shocking live television clash ever recorded, leaving viewers stunned and the entire panel frozen in horror. The studio lights were bright that morning, impossibly bright. The kind of bright that makes everything look perfect on camera, but feels harsh in person. The cameras were rolling, 3 of them, all pointed at the desk, all recording every second. Everything seemed normal. The Today Show panel sat ready at their desk, the same desk they sat at every morning, the same positions, the same routine. Savannah Guthrie wore a cream-colored blazer, perfectly pressed, perfectly fitted. Her hair was styled just right. Her makeup was flawless. See, she smiled at the camera. That professional smile. The one she had practiced for years. The one that looked warm, but felt cold. Next to her sat Hoda Kotb, adjusting her notes. She was going over the talking points, making sure everything was ready. Al Roker checked his watch from his seat. He had another segment coming up. Weather. Always weather. Carson Daly leaned back in his chair, relaxed. He was just there for the ride, just another day at the office. Then Conan O'Brien walked out. The band played. The audience clapped. Not a huge crowd. Not like the old days when he had his own show. But they were there. They were excited. He waved. That familiar wave. That goofy, self-deprecating wave that had made him famous. He smiled. That big smile. The one that crinkled his eyes. He sat down in the guest chair. The chair was lower than the desk. They always were. It put guests at a disadvantage, made the hosts look more important, more powerful. He was wearing a dark suit. No tie. His trademark style. Casual but put together. He was there to talk about his podcast. He was there to share funny stories. Stories about his guests. Stories about his travels. He was there to make people laugh. That is what he did. That is what he had always done. That is not what happened. Savannah started the interview. She leaned forward slightly, a move that seemed friendly but felt aggressive. She smiled her television smile, the kind of smile that does not reach the eyes. The kind of smile that looks perfect on camera but feels wrong in person. The kind of smile that makes guests nervous, makes them wonder if something is wrong, makes them second-guess everything they are about to say. Her eyes were sharp, calculating. She had her notes in front of her, but she was not looking at them. She was looking at Conan, really looking at him, like she was sizing him up, like she was getting ready for something. "Conan, thanks for being here," she said. Her voice was sweet, too sweet, like sugar that had gone bad, like honey with poison in it. "I know you probably do not get invited to many shows these days, so we thought we would throw you a bone." She said it with a laugh. A little laugh. Like it was nothing. Like it was just a joke. Like everyone would think it was funny. But her eyes were not laughing. Her eyes were cold. Watching. Waiting to see how he would react. The studio went quiet. Dead quiet. The kind of quiet that makes your ears ring. The kind of quiet that feels loud. Hoda shifted in her seat. Uncomfortable. She knew what Savannah had just done. She knew that was not okay. She wanted to say something, but she did not know what. She did not know how to fix this. Al stopped smiling. His face went blank. Neutral. The face you make when you do not want to be part of something. The face you make when you are pretending you did not hear what you just heard. Carson looked down at his hands. He studied his fingernails. Anything to avoid looking at the camera. Anything to avoid being part of this moment. The audience did not know what to do. Should they laugh? Was this a joke? Was this part of the show? Some of them laughed. Nervous laughs. uncomfortable laughs, the kind of laughs that die in your throat. Others just sat there, silent, watching, waiting. Conan blinked. Once, twice. He laughed a little. It was a confused laugh, a disbelieving laugh. The kind of laugh you make when you think someone is joking, but you are not quite sure. The kind of laugh that buys you time while your brain catches up, while you figure out what just happened, while you decide how to respond. His smile was still there, but it was starting to crack, starting to fade, starting to look less like a smile and more like a grimace. Thanks, I think, he said. He tried to smile. He tried to keep things light. I actually do okay, you know. The podcast is doing really well. Savannah waved her hand, like she was swatting away a fly. Like what he said did not matter at all. Like his success meant nothing. Like his work was irrelevant. She leaned back in her chair, crossed her legs, got comfortable. She was enjoying this. You could see it in her face, in her body language. She thought she was winning. She thought this was going well. Sure, she said. She drew out the words, made them sound dismissive, condescending. Podcasts. Everyone has a podcast now. Your neighbor has a podcast. My teenage nephew has a podcast. It is kind of the thing you do when you cannot get real work anymore, right? When the networks do not want you, when you cannot land a real show. You just, get a microphone and start talking to yourself in your basement. The camera caught it. The exact moment. The precise second. The moment Conan's face changed. His smile dropped. Completely. Like someone had pulled a mask off. His eyes went cold. Hard. The eyes of someone who has had enough. The eyes of someone who is done playing nice. He sat up straighter in his chair. His posture changed. His whole energy changed. The friendly guest was gone. Something else had taken his place. I am sorry, what? He said. His voice was different now. Sharper. Colder. Controlled. Each word precise. Each word intentional. What did you just say? The question hung in the air. Waiting. Demanding an answer. Hoda tried to jump in. She could see where this was going. She could feel the tension building. She could sense the disaster coming, like watching a car crash in slow motion. She knew she had to stop it. She had to defuse this. She had to save the segment, save the show, save Savannah from herself. She opened her mouth to speak. She started to form words, but nothing came out, because Savannah was still talking. But Savannah kept talking. She laughed. She actually laughed, like she thought this was funny, like she did not see the danger. Oh, come on, Conan. Do not be sensitive. You know what I mean. You used to have a real late-night show, on a real network. Now you are just talking into a microphone in your garage or wherever. The air in the studio changed. It became thick, heavy, like right before a storm. Al Roker looked at the camera, then looked away. He did not want to be part of this. Carson rubbed his face with his hand. Hoda stared at Savannah. Her mouth was open. Shocked. Conan leaned forward. His jaw was tight. His hands gripped the armrests of his chair. When he spoke, every word was clear. Every word was controlled. Every word cut like a knife. Let me get this straight, he said. You invited me here, to your show, to promote my work, and now you are sitting here on live television mocking me? Savannah's smile flickered. Just for a second, but she kept it on. She shrugged. She tilted her head. She spoke in that voice, that fake, concerned voice. The one people use when they are about to say something mean and pretend it is nice. I am not mocking you. I am just being honest. Look, we all know your network career did not exactly work out the way you hoped. The Tonight Show thing. That was, what, over 10 years ago, and you have been kind of floating around since then. I am just saying what everyone is thinking." The audience gasped. Someone actually gasped. Out loud. You could hear it on the microphones. Anhoda put her hand on Savannah's arm. She squeezed. Hard. A warning. But Savannah pulled her arm away. She was not stopping. She was on a roll. She thought she was winning. Conan stood up. He did not yell. He did not shout. He just stood up. Slowly. He unbuttoned his jacket. He looked at Savannah. Then he looked at the camera. Then he looked back at Savannah. "Everyone is thinking that," he said. His voice was calm. Too calm. "You know what everyone is actually thinking right now." "And Savannah?" She did not answer. For the first time, she looked nervous. Her smile was gone. Her face was pale. "Everyone is thinking that you just humiliated a guest on live television," Conan said. "Everyone is thinking that you brought me here, to this show, under the pretense of a friendly interview, and then decided to take cheap shots at my career. Everyone is thinking that you are acting like a bully with a microphone." Al Roker closed his eyes. He looked like he wanted to disappear. Carson Daly put both hands on the desk. He looked straight ahead. Anywhere but at Savannah. Anywhere but at Conan. Hoda finally spoke. Her voice was gentle, careful, like she was talking to someone on the edge of a cliff. "Conan, I think maybe we got off on the wrong foot here. Why do not we start over? Tell us about your podcast. We would love to hear about it." Conan looked at Hoda. His face softened. Just a little. He could see she was trying. He could see she was not part of this attack. He nodded at her. A small nod. A thank you. "I appreciate that, Hoda. I really do. But no." He turned back to Savannah. She was sitting very still now. Her hands were folded on the desk. Her knuckles were white. "You want to talk about career trajectories?" Conan said. "Let us talk about them. I have been in this business for over 30 years. I wrote for The Simpsons. I had a show for 17 years. I have won Emmys. I have a dedicated fan base. And yes, I have a podcast. A podcast that millions of people listen to every single week. A podcast where I talk to interesting people and have actual conversations. Not whatever this is." He took a step toward the desk. Not threatening, just closer. So she had to look at him. So she had to see his face. "You sit here every morning in your fancy chair at your fancy desk, and you think that makes you important. You think that gives you the right to talk down to people, to insult them, to make them feel small. But let me tell you something. Being a good host is not about having a big desk or a famous time slot. It is about respect. It is about making your guests feel welcome. It is about being kind." Savannah tried to speak. She opened her mouth. Her voice came out quiet, shaky. "I did not mean to. I was just trying to be funny. I thought we were joking around." Conan held up his hand. "Stop. No, do not do that. Do not pretend this was a joke. Jokes are funny. Jokes make people laugh. That was not a joke. That was you being cruel because you could be. Because you thought you could get away with it." Al Roker finally spoke up. His voice was loud. Louder than anyone expected. He was trying to take control. Trying to end this before it got worse. If it could get worse. Okay. Let us all just take a breath here. This got heated. Things were said. But we are all professionals. We can move past this." Conan shook his head. He looked at Al. Really looked at him. When he spoke, his voice was sad, disappointed. "Al, you have always been one of the good ones. You have always been kind. But right now, you are sitting there telling me to move past this. Like what just happened did not matter. Like I should just swallow my pride and keep talking so we can get through the next commercial break. and that is not okay. Al looked down. He had nothing to say to that. Because Conan was right. He knew Conan was right. Carson Daly cleared his throat. He looked uncomfortable. He looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. But he tried. He tried to help. Conan, man, I get it. I do. But maybe we can just, talk this out after the show, off camera. Conan let out a short laugh. It was not a happy laugh. It was a bitter laugh. A tired laugh. Off camera? No, Carson. This happened on camera. This needs to end on camera. I am not going to go backstage and have some fake conversation where everyone pretends to be sorry, and then we all move on like nothing happened. That is not how this works. He looked at the camera again, directly into it, like he was talking to every single person watching at home. His voice was steady, strong, clear. To everyone watching, I want you to know something. You do not have to accept being treated badly. You do not have to smile and nod when someone insults you. You do not have to play along when someone is being mean and calling it a joke. You have every right to stand up for yourself, even if it makes things uncomfortable, even if it makes things awkward, even if people tell you to just let it go. Savannah was crying now, actual tears running down her face, ruining her makeup. She grabbed a tissue from somewhere under the desk. She dabbed at her eyes. Her hands were shaking. Conan, please, she whispered. I am sorry. I am so sorry. I do not know why I said those things. I was trying to be edgy or something, and it came out all wrong. Please. For a moment, Conan just looked at her. His face was unreadable. Was he going to accept the apology? Was he going to sit back down? Was he going to give her a chance to make this right? The whole studio held its breath. The camera operators did not move. The audience did not make a sound. Even the crew backstage stopped what they were doing. Everyone was waiting, and waiting to see what would happen next. Then Conan spoke. His voice was softer now, but still firm, still final. I believe you are sorry. I believe you did not mean for this to go this way. But that does not change what you did. That does not erase what you said, and I am not going to stand here and pretend it does. He started walking, toward the edge of the set, toward the door, away from the desk, away from the cameras, away from all of it. Hoda called out to him. One last try. Conan. Wait, please. Can we just talk about this? He stopped. He did not turn around. He just stopped. For 3 seconds. 4. 5. Then he kept walking. No, he said over his shoulder. We cannot. The cameras followed him, all the way to the edge of the set, all the way to the big studio door, all the way until he pushed it open and walked through it and let it swing shut behind him. Gone. The set was silent. Completely silent. Savannah sat frozen at the desk. Her face was red and blotchy from crying. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. Hoda stared at the door, like she could not believe what just happened. Like maybe if she stared hard enough, Conan would come back through it. Al Roker looked at his hands. Carson Daly looked at the ceiling. Nobody knew what to say. Nobody knew what to do. This had never happened before. Guests did not just walk off. Not like this. Not in the middle of a live show. Not after destroying the host with their words. Finally, after what felt like forever, Al spoke. His voice was hoarse, strained. We are going to take a break. We will be right back. But the camera did not cut away. Not right away. It stayed on the desk, on the panel, on Savannah, on her face, on her tears, for 5 more seconds. 6, 7, 8. Long enough for everyone watching at home to see exactly what had happened. Long enough for them to understand. Long enough for them to know that something had broken here. something that could not be fixed with a commercial break and a fresh coat of makeup. Savannah Guthrie had thought she was in control. She had thought she could say whatever she wanted. She had thought her position protected her. She had thought wrong. Because in those 34 seconds, in that moment when she made that first cutting comment about throwing Conan a bone, she had started something she could not stop. She had poked a bear. She had crossed a line, and Conan O'Brien had shown her, and everyone watching, exactly what happens when you disrespect someone who has earned their place in this industry. He did not yell. He did not curse. He did not throw things or make threats. He simply stood up. He spoke his truth. He defended his dignity. And he walked away, leaving behind a host who had learned a brutal lesson, leaving behind a panel that sat in stunned silence, leaving behind a studio full of people who had just witnessed one of the most dramatic moments in morning television history. The screen finally went black. The commercial started. But for millions of viewers, the images were burned into their minds. Savannah's smug smile turning to panic. Conan's calm, devastating takedown. That final walk to the door. That door closing. In living rooms across America, people sat with their coffee cups frozen halfway to their lips. They looked at each other, and they looked at their screens. They grabbed their phones. They texted their friends. Did you see that? Did you just see what happened? Oh my God. Because this was not supposed to happen. Morning talk shows were supposed to be safe, friendly, light. They were supposed to start your day with a smile, with celebrity gossip and cooking segments and maybe a cute dog doing a trick. They were not supposed to implode on live television. They were not supposed to feature hosts attacking guests. They were not supposed to end with someone walking off the set in the middle of an interview. But that is exactly what happened, and there was no taking it back, no deleting it, no pretending it did not happen. It was recorded. It was live. It was out there. Forever. Back in the studio, once the cameras were off, chaos erupted. Producers rushed onto the set. Someone handed Savannah a bottle of water. Someone else brought more tissues. People were talking over each other, yelling, trying to figure out what to do, how to fix this, how to spin this, how to explain this to the network executives who were already calling, already demanding answers. Hoda put her arm around Savannah. She was trying to comfort her, trying to be supportive. But even Hoda looked shaken. Even Hoda knew this was bad. Really bad. Al stood up from the desk. He walked away. He needed a minute. He needed to process what had just happened. Carson stayed seated, staring at nothing, replaying it all in his mind. Meanwhile, Conan was long gone, out of the building, into a car, away from the madness, away from the cameras, away from Savannah Guthrie and her tears and her apologies that came too late. He sat in the back of the car. He looked out the window. He took a deep breath. He had not planned for that to happen. He had not wanted it to happen. He had walked onto that set expecting a normal interview. A few jokes, some plugs for his podcast, maybe a funny story or two. When instead, he had been forced to defend himself, to stand up for his work, to refuse to be treated like a has-been, like a joke, like someone who should be grateful for the scraps thrown his way. And he did not regret it. Not one word. Not one moment. Because some things are more important than being polite. Some things are more important than keeping the peace. Some things are more important than making sure everyone likes you. Things like dignity and self-respect. And refusing to let someone diminish you on national television just because they have a desk and a microphone. The commercial break ended. The show came back on. Savannah was composed now. Or trying to be. Her eyes were still red, but she had fixed her makeup. She had put her smile back on. That professional smile. that everything is fine smile. But her voice shook when she spoke. Welcome back. As you saw, our interview with Conan O'Brien took an unexpected turn. I want to address what just happened. I made some comments that were inappropriate and hurtful. I was trying to be funny, and I was not. I was trying to banter, and I crossed a line. I sincerely apologize to Conan. He deserved better. You all deserved better. I am sorry. The words sounded rehearsed, scripted, like a producer had written them for her during the break. Like she had practiced them 3 times before the camera came back on. Hoda nodded along. Supportive. Al looked at the camera. Says serious. Carson kept his eyes down, and just like that, they moved on. To the next segment, a cooking demonstration. Someone making pasta. Smiling and laughing and pretending the last 15 minutes had not just happened. But everyone knew. The viewers knew. The crew knew. The other hosts knew. Even Savannah knew. This was not over. This would not just go away. This was going to follow her. For days. Weeks. Maybe longer. Because the internet does not forget. And millions of people had just watched her humiliate a beloved comedian. And millions of people had just watched that comedian dismantle her with nothing but words and dignity. And millions of people were already talking about it, already sharing clips, already taking sides, and the overwhelming majority were siding with Conan. Because everyone has been where he was. Everyone has been insulted and expected to smile through it. Everyone has been mocked and told it was just a joke. Everyone has been made to feel small by someone who thought they were bigger. And everyone wishes they could do what Conan did. Stand up, speak out, walk away, with their head held high and their dignity intact. The pasta segment ended. Then there was another commercial. Then weather. Then more commercials. Then the show was over. The panel said their goodbyes. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. All the usual things. But nothing felt usual. Nothing felt normal. Everything felt different now. The dynamic had shifted. The power balance had changed. And everyone on that set knew it. Savannah gathered her things. She did not talk to anyone. She just grabbed her bag and left. Quickly. Head down. No eye contact. She did not want to see the looks, the judgment, the disappointment. Hoda watched her go. She felt bad for her. She really did. But she also knew Savannah had brought this on herself. You cannot treat people that way. Not even as a joke. Not when cameras are rolling. Not ever. That Al went to his dressing room. He closed the door. He sat down. He thought about what Conan had said to him, about moving past it, about asking him to swallow his pride, about not standing up for what was right. And Al felt ashamed, because Conan was right. He should have said something. He should have stopped it. He should have defended the guest, but he had not. He had tried to keep the peace, tried to smooth things over, tried to get through the show without making waves. And in doing so, he had failed. Failed Conan. Failed the audience. Failed himself. Carson left the building without talking to anyone. He got in his car. He drove home. He kept replaying it in his head. The look on Conan's face. The sound of Savannah's voice. The silence in the studio. The door closing. And somewhere across town, Conan was home. He made himself some tea. He sat on his couch. He looked at his phone. It was blowing up. Texts, calls, emails, messages of support, messages of solidarity, messages from other comedians, other hosts, other people in the industry who had seen what happened and wanted him to know they had his back. He did not respond to any of them. Not yet. He just sat there, processing, thinking, feeling everything he had pushed down during the confrontation. The anger, the hurt, the betrayal, because it had hurt. being talked to like that, being dismissed like that, being treated like his career was a punchline, like his work did not matter, like he did not matter, but he had not let her see that. He had not given her that satisfaction. He had stayed calm. He had stayed strong. He had said what needed to be said. And then he had left on his own terms, with his dignity intact. That is all any of us can do. The moment lived on, in clips that went viral, in think pieces that analyzed every word, in social media posts that debated who was right and who was wrong, in conversations at offices and coffee shops and dinner tables across the country. It became a cultural moment, a teaching moment, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to accept mistreatment, even when it comes from someone with a platform, even when it happens in public, even when walking away seems like the harder choice, because Conan O'Brien showed us all something that morning. He showed us that you do not have to fight fire with fire. You do not have to scream or insult or attack. You can simply stand up. You can speak your truth. You can refuse to participate. And sometimes that's the strongest statement of all. What started as a routine morning show interview became so much more. It became a line in the sand. It became a moment of accountability. It became proof that even the biggest hosts are not untouchable. That even the most famous sets are not safe spaces for cruelty. And it all began with 34 seconds. 34 seconds where Savannah Guthrie thought she was being clever. Thought she was being edgy. Thought she could get away with taking a cheap shot at a guest. 34 seconds that changed everything. That exposed the entitled behavior of someone who thought her position protected her. That revealed the strength of someone who refused to be diminished. That created one of the most shocking, dramatic, unforgettable moments in television history. The studio lights were still bright. The cameras were still rolling. But everything had changed, and there was no going back.